Okay, anyway, I went over by about 4 minutes, which is way too much to edit out, so I'm just going to make this how to replace a tie rod end from the truck into a 2-part video, educational video. So this is the first part. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to try to split them evenly. So keep in mind, this is just how I do it. I don't want any liability if you do it this way. It's not for that purpose. It's just an educational video so that you can see the basics of how I do mechanics. You're on your own, just like normal life. So if you're going to do this yourself and you screw up, it's not my fault. So anyway, enjoy the video, and I hope it helps someone somewhere in some way. So have a good one. Okay, step 1 is to make sure that your truck will not roll, and jack it up to test it. If you need actually need the tie rod end replaced. See, I put the jack underneath the spring area. I'm going to see if I can do this. Okay, here I'm going to test side-to-side motion. You can see that this tire has quite a bit of wobble. Okay, if you test up and down, okay, if you had a problem up and down wobble, it would possibly be the upper control arms or the ball joints. Side-to-side motion, it's probably a tie rod end. If it was up and down, inside to side, it's probably bearings, but it could be multiple problems on the vehicle. Okay, I've lowered the jack so that the tire is just barely touching the ground, so the jack still has most of the weight of the vehicle on it. What I'm going to do now is loosen all the lugs, every one of them, but not remove them. Okay, I've jacked the truck back up. I had to go out and get some of this stuff, PB Blaster, and I re-supported the jack. This time I put it on some wood because it's kind of mucky here. I don't want this truck to fall over. I just jacked it up so that there's a little bit of pressure on the wheel. Right now, I'm going to spray all the lug nuts with the PB Blaster and let it sit for a little bit to soak in. I'll let it soak in, then I'll wipe it off, and if I have to, I'll use a MAP gas torch. MAP gas fits on a propane torch, but it's 3 to 5 times hotter. The only thing you got to make sure you watch for fires if you're going to heat these things, and you want to re-temper them with the oil by cooling them down quickly with the oil, and it'll soak in. Okay, I got lucky and I didn't need to. And as you see, I removed every lug except for 2. I've left 2 on just by a thread. That way when I jack this up, the tire won't fall off. So that's what I'm going to do now, is jack it up and throw some supports under it so it won't kill me, and then take the tire off. Okay, I've jacked it up. I also sprayed some not WD-40. You can use WD-40. I sprayed some PB Blaster on the tie rod end bolts. I'll show you that later. I'm going to double up on a support right to the frame. You can see the frame up there. I'll lower this down onto the frame after I take the tire off, because I have to take the tire off first, because otherwise it'll be too low and it won't hit the frame. So I'm going to leave the jack under it, but put most of the weight onto these jack stands, so it'll be a triple support for safety. Okay, I've got all my safeties are in place. My jack is still holding this up. As you can see, it's lower than the tire is, so that's why I had to take the tire off before I put the safeties on. This here is the outer tie rod end, and you can see the problem, I think. I'm trying not to shake as I shake this. You can see I'm not supposed to do that. You can actually see the action. So this was really about to fall off, which would be bad if the steering fell off for this wheel as you were driving, 60, 70 miles an hour. That would really ruin your day. Okay, now I want to, see the cotter pin under there. I don't know if you can see it right there. I'm going to attempt to remove that. Okay, that was a pain. Basically, I couldn't show you because I had to hold this stupid camera. But basically, what you want to do is, on the cotter pin, you have to grab the looped end with your pliers and twist it. But first, you have to take this other end and make sure that these are bent straight out. So that's the trick to pulling a cotter pin out. Okay, this is how not to do this. I left my box wrenches up at the storage unit, and I'm already halfway into this job, so I'm going to use vice grips to hold the nut on the bottom while I turn it with this. It may snap, it may not, but the objective is to loosen this clamp, which holds the threads of the tie rod end on. And I want to loosen that as much as I can without removing it. Okay, as you can see, I got this loosened thanks to the magic of PB Blaster. Nothing snapped. So far, so good. So now what we have to do, I remove the cotter pin from underneath it here. There's a big nut under there. And I have to remove that nut. Then hopefully I won't need a fork. Normally you'd need a fork to separate these and then pop that off, and then you'd screw this out. So now I'm going to remove this nut. Well, let this be a lesson. I used the wrong tool. I used a pipe wrench to take it off instead of a box end wrench because my truck's disabled. I have no way of getting back up to the storage unit. Anyway, I got it off. What I'm going to do is put it back on. I'm going to flip it so that these crowns are up. And I'm going to bring screw it back on so that it's flush with the bottom. And there's like a little gap. I want to leave a little gap between these two. So what I'm going to do is hit it with the hammer. I thread it on so it's flush, so that the threads don't get damaged. I'm going to hit it with the hammer underneath, since this is all screwed up, and I don't have the fork, because I think it's in Florida, but I'm going to hit it, and theoretically it'll loosen it and it'll pop. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, that method didn't work, so now I've reset up the jacks and everything. This is like a couple days later now. I've taken the nut off the bottom of that, and I've purchased a fork, which I'm going to now drive right in there to remove the tie rod end. Okay, this ends part one of the how to replace a tie rod in a GMC, and I hope it's been helpful so far. And on to part two.